Vision. Eye. Vision is generally poor in whales, but gray whales often stick their head up out of the water to look at the coastline. It is believed that they can recognize landmarks on shore like mountains and remember them to navigate the same route next year. Head. Body. Flippers. The front flippers are used for steering and have lost all fingernails and knuckle joints. Instead, the flipper is a stiff fan, streamlined for moving through the water. It rotates at the upper arm joint near the body to steer the whale. It has lost the back flippers completely. Barnacles. Gray whales are covered with large white barnacles. This particular kind of barnacle is only found on gray whales. In fact, the barnacles release their young about the same time that the whales are concentrated on the breeding grounds, helping to assure that whales will be nearby for the young barnacles to settle on. Barnacles are crustaceans like crabs and shrimp, but are obligated to spend their whole life firmly attached to the outside of the whale. They eat by sticking out their slender legs in the water currents to snag even smaller crustaceans from the sea. Fluke. The tail flipper or flukes are made up entirely of cartilage and thickened skin. No bones are present except at the very center where the backbone ends. The flukes extend from side to side and, when swimming, move up and down to propel the whale rather than from side to side as in fishes. Whale. Lungs. Whales have large lungs to obtain oxygen from the air, but they exhale much of the air before diving. In a deep dive, the lungs are completely flattened and very little fresh oxygen is available to the whale. Instead, it uses the oxygen stored in the muscles and blood. Baleen. Long plates of baleen hang from each side of the roof of the mouth in baleen whales. They are made of protein like fingernails and have a brush-like fringe on them that filters small animals out of the seawater before they can be swallowed. Tongue. The gigantic fleshy tongue of the baleen whales is used to force large mouthfuls of water out through the baleen to filter out the food organisms. It also helps swallow the numerous organisms collected in the mouth. Trachea. Brain. Blowhole. The nostrils, or blowholes, come in pairs in the large baleen whales. The smaller toothed whales have a single hole in the same position. Breathing and eating are completely separated in the whales, and the nostrils are surrounded by strong constricting muscles to keep the blowhole closed on deep dives. Stomach. Kidney. Intestine. Bladder. Reproductive organ. The heart. Heart. The heart of a whale is very large. It beats rapidly when the whale is breathing, but slows way down when the whale is underwater. This is because the lungs are collapsed and oxygenated blood is required only in the brain, eyes, and heart. This effect also happens in other diving mammals and birds. You can even notice that your own heart slows down a lot when you snorkel to the bottom of the swimming pool. Baleen. Tongue. Brain. Blowhole. Trachea. Liver. Stomach. The large sac-like stomach in whales holds literally hundreds of pounds of small shrimp and fishes. Like many meat eaters, much of the digestion takes place in the stomach, and the intestine is relatively short. Contrast this with manatees, which are vegetarians and have a very long intestine. Kidney. Intestine. Bladder. Reproductive organ. As you can see, this baleen whale has a big mouth. The blue whale's mouth is the biggest in the animal kingdom. Most whales have a rib cage and backbone similar to those of people, and their flipper bones are very much like those of a human arm. Among whales, there are differences in the number of rib pairs and the size of the lungs, but most biologists rely on skulls to tell whale types apart. Rostrum. Mandible. Cranium. Cervical vertebrae. Thoracic vertebrae. Lumbar vertebrae. Caudal vertebrae. Rib cage. Scapula. Humorous. Radius and ulna. Phalanges. Visual